I spent 3 days on that, and I hate it. Hello, my name is Jeremy, and welcome to the Devlog. I'm one of the creators of Dexter Stardust Adventures in Outer Space. Currently, I'm working on 2 games. The first is a point-and-click adventure game, which we're just about finished with. We're finishing the voiceovers for. And the second one is a pixel art platformer game, which is very early in development. This week has been a little bit different than past weeks. In the past weeks, I've talked about all these different things that I've been able to accomplish and create, and I know that they're the final versions and that they're going in the game and that they contribute to the overall product, but this week has been a little bit of a setback. So let's get to it. This last week, my goal was to finish some very critically important voice recordings. I had a friend of mine who agreed to help me out, and he has recording equipment in his house. We met, we recorded the lines, but we just overall weren't satisfied with how they turned out. We're gonna try for attempt number 2 and see if it goes a little bit better. But on a positive note, I also do have some friends out in California who are also working on some voiceovers and some characters, and they also have recording equipment, so they're going to be able to work on that. I got some of the demo tracks for their voiceovers, and they sound very, very promising. I can't wait to hear the final result and put them in the game. So that's something to look forward to. So this is one of the reasons I say that this last week has been kind of a setback. Maybe not a setback so much as stagnant progress. Nothing really got finalized or accomplished this week with the first game, the point-and-click adventure game. We've just been figuring out what works and what doesn't, but that's all part of the process. The process is figuring out what works and what doesn't. So in that sense, we have made some kind of success in this past week. So let's move on to the next game, the pixel art platformer. For the second game, the pixel art platformer, we had a bit of a setback this week as well. My goal was to work on some of the enemy animations, creating some of the enemies in the game. And I wanted to model them after the main enemy that appears in Dexter Stardust Season 1, the point-and-click adventure game. It's this robot from the planet Vreeze, and it's called the Vanguard. He's not the only Vanguard, there are many Vanguards, but this is the one that's pursuing them in Dexter Stardust Season 1. So in Dexter Stardust Season 2, there will be a lot of different Vanguards that come after Dexter Stardust and the gang, and they will be well equipped to defeat them. So I had to figure out what they looked like and translate the artwork from the first game to this second game. The first game was traditionally animated, and basically there were no limits because of all the real estate I had in the resolution. But reducing that down to pixel art really proved to be a challenge, especially for me with my skill set in pixel art. It's something that I'm currently working on and developing, and it's not as easy as it looks, let's say that. So I first made one animation, and you can see it here. It's just goofy. I don't know how else to say it. It just looks a little wonky, a little goofy. It's difficult to take this seriously. I spent 3 days on that, and I hate it. So I went back and I decided to redraw that character, and I redrew that character, and while it looks fine, I don't think that it looks as good as it could look, especially when I think about what this looks like in comparison to how the same character appears in the first game. In the first game, the Vanguard enemy is very lean, very straight up and down. It has this very elongated look, very otherworldly. And it doesn't look like that now. I thought, well, maybe I can make him a little bit thicker, but now when I compare these two, I don't like it either. And I think I need to go back and redraw it again. And then I worked on another Vanguard who is a melee Vanguard. So the first one shoots a projectile, and this second one is a melee opponent. And I wanted to make him more of a brute, a larger enemy. But I don't really know if this fits with the same aesthetic either. I'm not 100% sold on it. I do think that the design could be refined further. So it's in the game, it works, but does it look like I want it to look? Not really. And that's a little bit unfortunate. I spent all week on this, right? I spent all week drawing these characters, animating these characters, putting them into the game, making little iterations on them, but that's how they turned out. Let's take a look at how the gameplay feels with these enemies the way they are at the moment. And looking at that footage, you can see how each different player plays. Dexter, Aurora, Robot number 4, and Jetto. One thing I did fix this last week was Jetto's punch, the swoosh that goes with his fist, and also the swoosh that goes with Aurora's machete. I guess one way to look at it is that at least I fixed that this week, even if it only took 20 minutes. That is everything that I got done in Dexter Stardust Season 2. Well, what do you think? Everybody has weeks like this whenever they're working on a project, right? Setbacks, concerns, worries that you're not making any progress. Let's hope next week goes a little bit better than this week. For Dexter Stardust Season 1, I hope to receive some of the voiceovers from the people that are working on them. And guess what? They already finished them and sent them over. Can't wait to put them in the game, guys. Thanks. And then for Dexter Stardust Season 2, I think I need to go back and redraw those enemies. To be honest, I'm just not happy with them. There are other things that I can work on too. Dialogue portraits, NPCs, and also creating some tutorial levels how to play Dexter, Aurora, Robot, and Jetto. So all of those things can be worked on next week. Next week, hopefully will be better than this week. So everybody, stay safe, take care, and I'll see you in the next devlog.